Hello everyone, good afternoon. Well, as you all know today, we're going to be interviewing Martin Fuchs. He should be joining us really soon. I am really excited about this one. So happy that he actually accepted the invitation. I'm going to send him a message in a way. I was seconds late, so sorry about that. It's about just time issues here. I'm not sure about the interviews for next week. I have a few names. I just need to organize them all in my time schedule, okay? Hopefully Martin will join us really soon and let me know he's arrived so we can start and keep going with the interview. We'll see. Well, for all of you that don't know me, my name is João Markun. I'm an international photographer and I've been doing some live interviews with the riders. So, okay, Martin has arrived. I'm gonna invite him to join us. Hi, Martin.
Hello, John.
How are you?
Good, and you?
Very good, thank you. Martin, first of all, thank you very much for accepting the invitation to talk with us. It's a pleasure to have you with me.
Thank you for having me.
It's all right. Martin, where are you right now?
I'm at home in Switzerland. Sorry.
We have a frozen. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's gorgeous. Good weather, eh?
Yeah, beautiful.
Fantastic. And how are things looking for the competitions and things to start in the near future?
Actually, next Saturday, so next week, we have a first national show.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Things are starting to move on eventually. I'm not going to be keeping a lot on the subject of the coronavirus and this whole situation because I believe everyone has talked a lot about it in the past few weeks. But most of all, the whole idea is to know you a little bit better. So I think the first question, and it has to be this one. I know that you come from a horse family and all of that, but when, how, and why do you start riding?
Yeah, I'm from a horse family, so we had our own stable. I was already as a kid a lot in the stable around the horses, enjoyed spending time with them. And then when I was 7 years old, I started riding a pony. And actually the pony, I didn't ride it at our stable at home. I did in a riding center with other kids, just because it was, my parents wanted to do it like that I have a bit more fun and not just riding with all the professionals, but also with kids and enjoy everything around the horses and not just focus too much on the real riding.
Fantastic. I'm not, you probably don't know that, but in Brazil, we don't actually have the pony culture. We don't ride ponies as kids. Do you think it's important to start ponies?
Well, I didn't do ponies for a very long time. I would say when I was 10 or 11, I switched on horses. Just because also, otherwise when you ride ponies until you're 16, the transition might be a little bit more difficult. Because by the time I was 16, I rode already 3 European championships as a junior. So this gave me a lot of experience already. But for sure to start, it is nice when you have a pony, just for the size, and most of the time they're also very good in their head. They get very old, so you pass. I had a pony that taught 4 kids before me to ride. It was taught the kids of Helena Stormans, and we got rid of them. And after me, we gave it to another horse family, and 3 kids learned to ride on it. So I think that's what you cannot really have with a horse, but you can have it in a pony.
Well, okay. Moving on from ponies, of course, coming from a big horse family such as yourself, having your uncle, your father, and your mother, if I'm not mistaken, as a professional riders, do that put a lot of pressure on you as a kid?
If they put?
Yeah, if that put a lot of pressure.
No, they didn't. I mean, I had hard training and hard work, and my father was always very tough. So actually, when I was with my pony. I was riding with my mom, Renata, and she was training me at home and came with me to the shows. And then when I started riding the horses, I started to train more with my dad. Or at the time, Werner Muff was working for us, so Werner was helping me when I went to my first show with the horses, and then later on, my dad took over.
Do you remember your first show on a horse, on a first national show or international, actually?
I remember my first show with the pony very well. When I was 7 years old, I jumped in our riding club, a very, very small competition, and for me, they put all the jumps even smaller. But the first competition on a horse, no, I do remember on a national show. It was just Werner came with me to the show. I think my parents were both quite nervous, so he came with me, and it was good. Yeah.
Very good. When did you start? When did you realize you want to become to do riding as a profession?
When I started riding, actually, for me it was
okay.
Yeah, it was pretty clear that I would want to take over the stable and that I would want to ride and be competitive. And then, actually, already when I was a junior, I did a lot of shows, had some nice horses, and I never stopped there.
Very good. And then I believe your first major win, your first medal, if I'm not mistaken, is 2010, the Youth Olympic Games in Singapore. Is that right?
No, I had a medal at the Children European Championships.
Okay. This
was the first time they held the Children European Championships when I was 14, so in 2006.
Okay.
And then in 2007, I had the Junior European medal, 2008 also, and then was Singapore, the Youth Olympic Games, which was amazing.
Yeah. On the Olympic Games, you rode which horse?
That was we all had borrowed horses from Singapore.
Okay.
So we didn't use our own horses.
But then in 2012, I guess, 2010, you won the European for Young Riders, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I won the European Championships for the Young Riders with Principal. It was an amazing horse I got when I don't remember. Yeah. Where did you find this video?
YouTube.
Okay. So when I was very young, I don't remember my age, I got the horses of Beat Manley. They were injured, and the owner decided to take them away from Beat, and he was a good friend with my dad, and he gave them to me. One of them was Idiotito, the World Cup final winner with Beat. One of them was Principal, who was an amazing horse. And one of them was not a very well-known horse. And then my parents built them back up. They took care that they are sound again. And after, it allowed me to ride at these big shows with amazing, experienced horses, which will definitely help me a lot to start in the 5-star level.
Very, very good. And then I think a year later than that, you won again team gold and individual silver with PSG Future.
Yes, exactly. PSG Future was actually the first horse which I produced myself.
Okay.
I got him as a 7-year-old. He was already a good young horse. Got him off an owner of Peter Schildknecht. Then he won a lot. I won a lot in the smaller classes with him. We were never really sure about the scope, but he always did a bit more and a bit more. And at the end, we made a gold medal at the Team Europeans, Young Riders, individual silver, won 5-star Grand Prix. So he really became one of my best horses. It's
fantastic how much I would say you won your whole career. Like you start winning, and from really an early age, you were placing on the championships. Mm-hmm. It's a hard to, and of course you are still, well, you're younger than me, if I'm not mistaken. I think you are 1992.
Yeah.
Well, younger than me. And you're still number 2 in the world FEI rankings. You were number 1 for a month, if I'm not mistaken, in the beginning of last year, or this year.
Yeah,
this
January.
year. Yeah.
This year.
What is the secret?
Well, I definitely think with thanks to my parents and my management, I'm able to be so successful in this young age already. As you said, I made a lot of medals at the European Championships. I always had nice horses. I had good training. My dad, he taught me the basics very well. And as I explained earlier, I got some really nice horses already when I didn't have the experience, but the horses did. Horses which were worth, or at that time they were injured, but if they're sound, they're worth a lot of money. And so it was unbelievable for a teenager or young rider like me to get some 5-star Grand Prix horses. And with this, you get a lot of experience, a lot of good experience. When you show a lot, you try to win, you get confidence, and you just think everything is possible.
Fantastic. Well, for you, what was the highlight of your career so far? What was the most important moment?
I have three that were really special. There was the WAG in Tryon, silver medal. I was first Swiss rider in history to make an individual silver medal, and like my whole family, my girlfriend, everyone was there supporting me, and was very, very emotional. Second place, being on the podium with my friend Steve, so that was amazing. Then the European Championships last year, the gold medal, coming after Tryon with the silver medal, and the World Cup final, the silver medal, really wanting to bring home the gold. And it looked for a long time that it would be silver again, because Ben Maher with Explosion seemed to be unbeatable. And then they had a rail down and I won the gold. This was just fantastic. And then Geneva, Rolex Grand Prix was just like the most beautiful win. Just it's a bit different than a championship because you have a jump off, you have more adrenaline. I mean, you also do have adrenaline at championship, but in a jump off, it's just a bit more special. And obviously the crowd in Geneva at home is just so fantastic. And that was probably my nicest win.
And well, out of the three of them, I was only in Geneva, and it was absolutely fantastic. It looked like a sea of red cheering you. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the nicest photos that I've taken my whole career so far. Is the one that you celebrate for the whole team. I was just checking on the FEI rankings. It looks like you've jumped on at least FEI classes close to 80 horses by now. It can be a mistake. I can have miscounted it, but it's something around that. It's a lot, at least I believe. You have a thing with gray horses, like most of your horses are gray. I'm not sure if you picked them to be gray or it's just
coincidence.
It's like, okay, I have a nice horse, I have a nice gray horse, send it to Martin. See,
exactly. They find me. The gray horses find me.
It's a cloud of grays. But anyway, the thing that I think I want to ask you, it's to pick three. I would say one, it's the horse of a lifetime, and of course, you're still quite young, but up until now. The second one would be the moneymaker, the one that was always in the prize. And the third one, if it has happened already, it's one that got away, that you imagine would be fantastic, or got injured, or got sold, or anything like that.
Yeah, that's actually quite easy to answer. So obviously the most amazing one, Clooney, horse of a lifetime. He's already now the most successful horse in Swiss show jumping history, and we still have hopefully quite a few years to come. So many medals, so many big Grand Prix wins. Has been with me since he's 7, so he was already an amazing 7-year-old, but still I produced him on the bigger level. He was not the easiest in the beginning, so that's nice that we really found together. Then the moneymaker is definitely Chaplin. He has had a few bad luck with injuries, but when he's at the show, he just wins normally. Like, it's unbelievable, this horse. Every 5-star Grand Prix I jumped with him, he's placed. He's never jumped a 5-star Grand Prix without being placed.
Chaplin is the bay
one
stallion that you jumped in Madrid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He won in Madrid last year, and he won in Estoril, the Grand Prix. Plus, he was second in both qualifiers for the Grand Prix, so he really is a fantastic horse. He won in Mexico 3 years ago. And then the one that got away is probably Sinar of Jessica Springsteen.
Okay.
I had him as an 8-year-old. I jumped him 5-star Grand Prix when he was 8 in Barcelona with one rail down, but was a really unbelievable horse. So much scope, so much elasticity, and careful. He really had everything. And at the time, the same people owned Clooney and Sinar, and we had to decide that one will get sold before the Olympics. And as Clooney was a bit older and more experienced, I tried to keep Clooney just because he was safer for Rio. And then we decided to sell Sinar. But I'm really happy that he got to Jessica to a good home, and he really could show what the potential he had and what an amazing horse he is.
Fantastic. There is a letter that you actually wrote for Clooney.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's for World of Show Jumping or where did I find it, but I read it a couple of months ago. And it is amazing that story of you guys are just, it's kind of connected and how special he is, right?
Yeah, he is quite special. I have to say now he like at home, he's pretty easy and calm, and but when he was new and when he didn't know things, he was not easy. When he gets, still now sometimes, mostly at shows, he gets nervous, he gets very tense, a bit scared. He can buck and spin and rear sometimes, but it's not that he's like being that he wants to be stupid. He gets very nervous, and then he can lose his mind sometimes. And this was definitely something that I tried to work at, that I tried to give him more confidence, that I tried to stay calm and make him calm at the same time. And that's, I guess, the biggest thing we achieved together. Fantastic.
Another horse that you've been jumping lately and it's doing really well, it's Silver Shine.
Yeah.
Is that your new project for the future?
Silver Shine is my reserve for the Olympic Games.
Okay.
He's 11 years old now. He has jumped the Barcelona Nations Cup final. He was the only clear of our team in the second round. So I was very happy with that. He has had a good winter season, placed in some 5-star Grand Prix, was good in Wellington. So yeah, he's definitely one of my horses for the future.
Fantastic. If I'm not mistaken, your family has a really good connection and relationship with Gerda, with Steve.
Yeah.
What was that and how that happened?
Steve, he moved to Zurich, I would say about 10 years ago, probably. And at the time, he needed some help. He needed some guidance and training. And he asked his father, Philip Gerda, if he had an idea of someone to contact in this area. And then he said, yeah, there's only one that you can ask, is Thomas, my dad. And they right away met each other, started training with each other, and that's how we became very close. I always went, excuse me. I always went to see them train, try to learn of Steve, or sometimes I took my horses to his place too. I rode with them together, so that helped me a lot. Very good.
I know that's not an easy answer, and I'm not even sure if there is an answer to that, but I find it incredible how come we have 2 Swiss riders on number 1 and number 2 of the FEI rankings. You both placed in Tryon, if I'm not mistaken.
Second and third in Tryon. First
second and third.
Gothenburg. Yeah.
Try to explain that. Is that something in the water? What's the deal?
Actually, I was just having a barbecue with Steve yesterday, and we were talking about it, that it's amazing that out of 6 possible medals we made 5, and Steve was like, yeah, I just screwed up on one of them in Rotterdam, and we didn't make the 6 out of 6. I mean, I don't think there's like a, how do you say, like a secret. We both work hard, we both have a good team around us, some very good horse owners, sponsors, and it definitely helps that we are so close to each other. We can give some fine tunings, or when someone wants a bit few shows that don't go so well, it's nice to see that the other one who has the same system, who does the same work, is still important, so you don't question yourself so much. You just keep going and you do the same thing. You don't try to change something that you see works with someone else, because we have the same, basically the same plan around our horses, and that's a huge advantage we have.
Very good. Well, I believe it as well. I asked you what was the highlight of your career, but I would like to know what's the other side of the coin. What was the hardest moment so far?
The Grand Prix of the Rolex Grand Prix of Aachen. I was with Clooney, close to win the Rolex Grand Prix of Aachen, and then we had a refusal on the last fence,
Okay.
which was very devastating at that time.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm trying to ask all the riders, and a lot of them pointed out Clooney, which is, I believe, a big honor. If you could choose any horse in the world today, and again, there's going to be a lot of questions, so that's today, there is from the history and all of that, to ride, to give a spin, which horse would that be?
I think that would be Explosion.
From Ben Mayer.
Yeah, from Ben Mayer. He's just
Very
such a cool horse, so quick. I think he's on the way to being one of the greatest horses in the history. And yeah.
Fantastic. Good answer. And from history?
From history, I always really liked Shuttlerfly and Balubé du Rouet.
Very good.
I do believe that Shuttlerfly was very special, and not like it was a great fit with Meredith. But still, it would have been nice just to get the feeling with him. Same thing, Balubé, like Rodrigo was a great rider for Balubé. But I think it was such a careful horse, such a fast horse, and the kind of horse which I like.
Very good. If you could pick any course that you jumped to redo it, which one would that be?
The second round of the Rolex Grand Prix in Aachen.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep. Makes sense, a lot of sense. What was the toughest course you jumped?
Definitely Spruce Meadows. I know exactly which one. The first time I jumped at Spruce, also at the time it was the CN International Grand Prix. I rode Principal. It was the last win of Hickstead, Eric Lamas, the last show that he won. I was clear. I had the time fault in the first round, or I was clear. I'm not sure anymore. The first clear after 24 riders, so it was a huge course already the first round, and the second round was unbelievable, difficult. It was so tricky and so hard. I managed to stay on 4 points to only have 1 rail down in the second round, and placed third in this big Grand Prix. And Eric Lamas was the only double clear with Hickstead. Niels Brunzels was second with NASA, the mare which Steve Gerber bought after. And I was third, same points as Niels, but 2 of 100 slower than Niels. But I was still happy.
I can imagine. Another part of the interview is a little bit of what you think about things. We are going through, and hopefully Tokyo will happen. That's what we are cheering for. But it's a whole different system now. They change the regulations, they change the rules. What do you think about the new rules for the Olympics?
I have to say, the 3 riders on the team, I think, will be very interesting. I have had it a few times or twice in Prague at the Global Championship final, where there were 3 riders for the team. Each result counts, and it was for me like the most nerve-wracking, exciting class to compete, just because anything can happen and it goes so quick that the things change. I don't know if it was the right decision or the wrong decision, but I mean, we have to live with it now, and that's why I just try to look forward to it, and I'm excited about that. But what is maybe a bit more, or what I don't like so much, is that the individual final is already so early. So you only have 1 round to qualify for the individual final. Makes it very tricky, because usually the best horse rider combination comes out after a few courses, and by the end of the show, these are the real championship horses, which get better and better, and the longer the show goes. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be the same kind of class as anywhere else where you go for a Grand Prix. You do a Grand Prix qualifier the day before, and after you have a Grand Prix and a jump off. But it's definitely going to be interesting to only have 1 round and a jump off for a championship. I wish there would have been a few more rounds.
Okay, good. Well, it's wait and see, right? We have to now that it's done. We have to see what happens once it's over. The other regulation that's about to change, and it's been talked a lot, it's the hind boots regulations. We won't have the hind boots for the from 1st of January 2021.
Yeah.
How do you think that will affect the sport?
I actually do think it will. Excuse me. I actually do think it will be quite good for the sport, because now it's so difficult for a course designer to build the courses. There's so many clear rounds. The jump offs are crazy fast, and I definitely think with the new hind boots rules, the jump offs are not going to be that fast anymore, or not that many horse rider combinations can jump a clear at this speed with the new rules.
All right.
And then I think it will help the better riders to be even better, just because of the horse has to be better ridden on the flat, has to be more relaxed, has to jump better through the body, and I think this will be an advantage for the better schooled horses.
Very good. Well, you just said about something that we will discuss in the future, but that's going to be now then. What's the importance of the flat work for the show jumping horse?
A show jumping horse just has to be relaxed, to move good forward, listen to your aids, wanting to work with you, being motivated. I work my horses a lot on the flat, but I don't really work them just in the sand ring or like this. I try to have them in a good mood, to have them supple, to have them relaxed, and not be like too strong and too much in one, focused in one thing.
Very good. Well, you said that you made Clooney, you made I forgot the name of the other horse, but
PSG Future.
PSG Future, yeah. You made a couple of your top horses from 7-year-old on. What do you think is the main thing on building a horse from young age up into the Grand Prix top level?
It is so hard, because some horses are amazing as a young horse and they don't turn out as we thought. Some are not that amazing, but they get better and better. So you just have to keep working with them. You have to feel a bit what they need, how much you should ask from them, how much jumping they need, how much showing they need. Some horses are good to go already quite to go a bit slower and not jump so big when they're young. Other horses you can push already in a younger age, or they need it a bit because they're more difficult and more tricky and more inexperienced. So it's very, very individual with each horse.
Very good. But what do you look for in a horse when you're going to buy a horse for you? What's the most important quality?
I want that horses have a good record. So a lot of clear rounds is important, because even as a young horse or as an inexperienced horse, like Clooney at the time, I'm sure he had like 90% clear rounds when he was young. Sina are the same. So the good horses, they don't make many mistakes even if they are young. And then obviously the feeling is very important. Do you feel that they're careful? I would definitely say I'd rather have one that's careful than that has all the scope.
All right, fantastic. Let's open the questions because people are going crazy. I'm gonna hold on. Okay, what made you decide to compete in Wellington these last winters?
My girlfriend Paris Ellen is from the States, and she always went every year to Wellington, and I went to visit her 3 years ago there, and I really liked it, and I decided to bring my horses there just as a nice build-up for the outdoor season, to make some new connections. I was able to sell a few of those horses, get a few business connections with American people, maybe find some clients over there, and try to start a bit a good network.
Very good. Just so people know, send the questions on the question mark down here. If you write them on the comments, usually I don't read it as much. Is there a particular breeding line or stallion you enjoy, you like?
No, not actually. I'm not very much into breeding, so I barely even know the pedigrees of my horses. I mean, obviously, I know that he's by Cornet, but we are not so much.
Let's see if it goes back. Something happened. And invite him to join us again. I'm not sure if he dropped the connection or something happened with the phone. Hopefully, I will see him. There you go. Nope. Yes.
I dropped my phone.
I could imagine. Yeah, no problem. See, me too. Oh, what? Hold on, wait. It's just, yep. I think we're back. Yeah, we're back. Okay, let's see. I'll try to translate this one. She's asking, how do you organize the work of your horses? If you ride all of them every day, if they go out twice a day, how do you deal with your main horses, from the top horses like Clooney, Silvershine, etc.?
Well, right now I have around 8 horses for myself. I usually ride 4 or 5. Now during the Corona time, I ride 4 or 5 a day. So I switch every second day. I ride them. But my horses get all ridden 6 times a week. Sundays they have off.
Okay.
They just go on the walker and on the fields on Sundays. On a normal day, they go in the morning on the walker, then they get ridden, they go on the grass fields, and they go on the sand paddocks. So we really try to have them out a lot and have them not stand in the box for the whole
for
way.
too long. How do you manage? Because I believe and I know that sometimes you only see the horses at the shows. Like you go from one show to another, then to another, and you keep on moving. And sometimes I was with Sean the other day, and then he said, no, I'm going to wait another day because some horses are coming in to go to the next show, and these ones are going back home. How do you manage to keep all of them fit and, of course, on the tip of their toes, you know what I mean? Like ready to show and win.
Well, usually I get to, Sean travels with the truck, I travel by plane, so I'm usually home Sunday night and being able to ride Monday, Tuesday again. But when I'm gone, I have a great group of riders at home. My dad is most of the time staying home, both of my parents, my dad and my mom, and they really take good care of my horses. I have some very good flat riders and fence riders at home, which keep my horses in great shape. Like when I was in Wellington, I only had four horses with me, so quite a few stayed at home. And when I got back, the horses were in the shape almost as I would have ridden them. So that's a big advantage.
Fantastic. And how often do you jump your horses at home, your Grand Prix horses?
Now during this time, I jump them once a week. Once a week, I jump them a course, a small course, never bigger than 1.20 meters. And the following week, I just do gymnastics, a few individual a few gymnastic fences, some bounces. Then we always try to mix a bit, jump them once on the grass, jump them once on the sand. Last week I went to just 5 minutes from us, we have a nice derby field with some natural fences, not eventing, but some natural fences. So I went there with Silvershine and Leone, my very good 8-year-old horse, just to have them enjoy also something else.
Awesome. There's a question that actually got to me through WhatsApp, but the question is, what is the Sinner like, character-wise? Do you consider him to be one of your main horses, or he comes after Clooney, Silvershine, and Chaplin?
The Sinner is definitely one of my main horses. Last year I was able to win with 3 different horses, a 5-star Grand Prix, Clooney, Chaplin, and then the Sinner, the World Cup of London, which was also actually one of my nicest wins. So it was, he was a big part of lifting me up to the throne of the world ranking list. Also throughout the year, he has placed in some good Grand Prix. The Global Championship Grand Prix of New York, he was 3rd, Villach Treff, and the 5-star Grand Prix was 4th. So he really is a really good horse, very careful, has a lot of scope. He's, I would say, not the easiest, but when you know him, he's actually really fun to ride, and he gives you a good feeling over the fences.
Very good. Martin, how do you manage and organize your calendar? Because you do the globals, you do almost all of the FEI 5-star Grand Prix. At least you have to do a lot of them to keep on the FEI rankings well enough. How do you manage? And if you have ever counted how many weeks you are at home, I would say how many shows you do a year, but I think it's easier to count how many weeks you are not at show.
Yeah, I'm 46 weeks a year usually at the shows, and then
our shows, yes.
Yeah, live 6 weeks at home, and mostly of these 6 weeks I'm also not at home. Then I'm either on vacation. I like to take some vacations with Paris, go to the beach, or go home to LA with her, or to Mexico for vacation. And well, otherwise, yeah, I travel almost from show to show. I have a lot of good experienced horses right now, so that's why I really wanted to push the last year also to take advantage of this amazing string of horses that I have. You say I do the global, I do the Nations Cup, I do the World Cups, and I do the Rolex Grand Slam, the Rolex Majors, and the other Rolex shows such as Rome and Windsor. But the globals, I didn't do so many. I did, I would say, like 5, 6 of them last year, and I wasn't planning on doing more this year. I try to do all the Rolex shows because there you really have the best conditions for the horses. They're the nicest shows, most prestigious, biggest rings, nicest rings, a lot on grass, a lot of big atmosphere. So I really like the effort they put into it, that they push these historical shows to be the best still now. Then the World Cup series is a really fun series for me. Very good shows, very good atmosphere, with amazing World Cup final usually at the end, which is always a big goal for me.
Very good. Let me see for more questions. No, that's my mistake. There we go. Mathilde, she's asking about what age you start riding. You answered that already, so I'll ask her to have a look again on the beginning of the interview. There is a funny question, but Luis Felipe Pimenta, that's a Brazilian, is saying, is it true that he knows how to speak a little bit of Portuguese?
Puedas, caralho.
Oh, well, okay. Good enough.
That's about it.
All right. What else? Sakara question is asking a little bit about what do you think of the safety jackets? Are you seeing it more and more on a 5-star level?
Yeah, I started riding with the airbag jacket of free jump last year in Aachen. I've been working with free jump already for a while with the boots and the stirrups, and then the owner of free jump contacted me and said that he bought a new company, Oscar and Gabriel, who are doing airbag jackets. I right away tried them on because I'm very high on safety, and so ever since then I ride with the airbag jacket.
Very good. Luciana Camargo, that's a fantastic Brazilian rider. She's asking what the horse. You said that the horses you ride them 6 times a week, so she's thinking what they do at the day off.
So today, usually on Sunday, they have a day off when they're not at the show, obviously. So
for obvious reasons.
Today they went on the walker, they went on the grass fields, and they went on the sand paddocks.
So it's just a big day of out in the fields. Okay. Let's see. Okay. What's the most important thing to work with your horse daily to make him grow?
Definitely to give the horse confidence, to always keep the horse working, not every day after working, but to keep him in good shape. And even when they are on a break, we stay riding them. We take them out a lot. So I definitely think that's important. And then to have a lot of different kind of exercises in jumping, not always just jump courses. We do a lot of gymnastics, bounces, some small fences.
Very good. Okay. There is an interesting question, and I'm not sure if that's true, to be honest, at least not in Europe. Of course, in Brazil, we have this issue, but why do you think show jumping sport is not getting the popularity that Formula One and football has?
Well, because people just don't like to watch it as much as other sports. For sure, it's harder to understand show jumping, harder to get into it than to see some people run after a ball. You have, when they play football, you have everything on one screen. You know the score, you know who is winning, you know who is losing. In show jumping, when you don't keep track, it's hard to always know who is the winner or to always know who is still left to come. I mean, a football game takes also 90 minutes. A Grand Prix can also be done in 90 minutes. So the time factor is not really the problem, but definitely that one after the other, you don't have everything at once, so it's harder to keep track.
Okay. If you wouldn't ride, what do you think you would do?
Definitely something with horses. As I said earlier, I always really enjoyed being in the stable. That's what I've done as a kid already, so I cannot really imagine a life without horses.
Very good. Do you play any other sports?
I just come back from playing soccer.
I see. So running out of ball is also a fun fact for you.
I'm not a great player, but now lately we've been playing quite a bit, also with Steve, and I start to enjoy it more and more.
Martin, you might be holding your phone with your thumb on the mic. There you go.
Better.
Much better. Thank you. Let's see what else we got. It's actually no. There's two questions that I want to ask before those. What do you think is your most important quality as a rider? Your most important trait?
I would say that I always try to give the horse a lot of confidence, to make the horse feel comfortable. I think that's how you get the best out of a horse, when they really trust in you, when they trust in themselves, when they believe in themselves. And I think that's that's one of my best qualities.
Very good. One thing that I interviewed Jérôme Dobodon a couple of weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, and we discussed a little bit about how did he manage to prepare a horse for a championship. It's a lot different to, as we were talking about, prepare a horse and jump off competition, such as one Grand Prix, and something like an Olympic Games or a WAG. How do you manage to get them in top shape, on the top of their game, for the games or for the World Cup or whatever, for that competition? How do you make the schedule of planning?
Actually, I have to say, for me, this is not such a huge difference, or especially now with Clooney, not like he's great throughout the whole year. He's not a better horse at the championship than he's otherwise. But what I usually try to do, I make a plan with him that he does quite a few shows, that he is showing a bit, so he's not too fresh and spooky throughout the year. Like beginning of the year, he does nothing, and then when the championship is in the summer, he starts showing by March, probably March, April, and then he does. I push him a bit towards June, and then before the championship, or now before the Olympic Games, I was planning on doing a small show with him. Just do 2-3 nice rounds, maybe on a grass ring, on a nice ring, nice and relaxed, and then before flying to Tokyo, jump once a bigger course at home.
Very good. I'm not sure if I got it right. You said Clooney gets better on the championship, or he jumps every day different?
Well, I said that Clooney is not a better horse at the championship than he's at the different show, because he's always amazing. But he definitely is a good championship horse.
Very good. Because there is,
like with Jeroen, he really managed Zenit. Like I would say now, he didn't win that much throughout the year with Zenit, but he was then ready for the championship. And Clooney, he still wins throughout the year and is able to perform at the same level for the championship.
Very good. Because there are those kind of horses that are fantastic for a Grand Prix, but what happened? Oh, something went on at home. But some horses, they jump really well that 1 day, 2 day Grand Prix, but all of the championship, they go a little bit tired, or they jump.
There's some, not all the horses have all the same stamina, have the same endurance to go over many days, have not the same scope. So they, for a Grand Prix, it's okay because they have to give once a really hard effort, and they do it with their heart and their brain. But when they have to do it for 5 days in a row, it's sometimes just not enough ability.
Very good. There is a question here. I think it's funny, but you might be able to explain it. It's what goes in your mind during during your jumping, I believe it's what's your mind while you're jumping a Grand Prix course, especially at the last couple of fences?
I usually always make a very strict plan for the jump off. Like I really try to think about every stride that I want to do. So then when I'm in the course, I really just focus on the next fence and on the next fence and on the next fence. And then sometimes, depending on what starting number and other riders, through my head it goes a bit, okay, I'm fast enough, I don't have to keep pushing too much, I can play it safe for the last two fences. Or when I know that it was a crazy fast jump off and I need, like, that other riders were crazy fast or the fastest ones are still to come, then I just think I really have to try everything.
Very good. Do you get anxious?
No, not so often. At the WEG I did. I always took a nap before my round, woke up very anxious, but then as soon as I got on my horse, I was calm again.
Very good. Another thing that I'm trying to, well, at least get information about, it's what is the importance of the grooms for the show jumping top level?
Excuse me, important for?
What's the importance of the grooms on the top level for the top level show jumping?
Well, that's definitely very important. I'm very lucky to have a great groom in Sean Ward. He has been with me now for quite a few years. When we started working together, I didn't have this great string of horses that I have now. So we weren't that successful. Still, he was always very motivated and he stuck by my side. And then by the time we really built an amazing string of horses, and he has taken great care of them. He travels week after week. He's an unbelievable hard worker. He really never gets tired and really loves to do his job. And I definitely cannot think of anyone better to take care of my horses. So I hope he's gonna get old here.
Fantastic. He's really something. He's really nice.
Yeah. And it's nice to see that the grooms are so motivated and they want to win as well. That they really fight with you and when you're in the ring.
It's fantastic. One thing that really took my attention in Geneva, I was at the warm-up arena when I think Scott had a rail.
Yeah.
I think Scott was the last to go. Derek, yeah. Anyway, while the last rider had a rail, and of course then you knew you won. That almost, of course, there was this whole beautiful moment with you in Paris and celebrating and the Cluner Zone and all of that. But almost everyone went up to Sean to congratulate him as well.
Yes, that's nice. Yeah.
Which for me is fantastic.
I think everyone, especially in the in the 5-star circuit, everyone knows Sean and he knows that he's a big part of my success story. So that's nice that he also gets recognition by other riders and other people.
Very good. Let me see what else you got. Martin, I will put this question because someone called *7774 has sent it, I think, 20 times. So feel free not to answer or to explain, but I don't know. It's if you recommend an a cavallo or bait Vitrix saddle. I'm not even sure what they are.
No, me neither. Me neither. I ride with a Renaissance saddle. I've actually changed this year. Prestige contacted me that they have their new luxury brand Renaissance. It's a great saddle. I tried it on my horses, and then I started working with them.
Fantastic. So Xtrix, sorry, he doesn't know this saddle, neither do I. So I think, well, we'll have two more questions and then we are done.
Okay.
I believe this one. What's the day after the show for the horses?
So usually they obviously travel home. Most of the time the shows end on Sunday. Then Sean puts them in the truck, drives home with them. Normally they get home at night, in the middle of the night on Sunday. Then on Monday morning, they go on the walker, they go on the field, and we go on a hack with them.
Okay. Martin, I thought of another question, which I already forgot, which is a pity, but I will remember it soon. So, but before that, what would be your advice for the young riders and people that really want to achieve more and to become such an important rider like yourself?
You really have to try, you have to work hard, but you also have to work smart. It's not, doesn't have to be the goal to be riding 10, 12 horses a day. You rather ride 5 and do it properly. Have the right people around you, have trainers that that you can trust, that you know that they want the best for you and for your horse, and that can really help you in your future.
Very good. I remember the question is that if you have any funny story about, like, with yourself in it.
Funny story?
Yeah.
Many, probably, but well.
It can be one that happened on the course, or that something funny happened on the course. It doesn't have to be a personal one. Usually, by this time, friends of you usually send me, please ask them to tell that story or that story, which usually are quite funny. But this time, people are being quite nice to you, and no one has said anything dodgy or odd to put it on. So, yeah, if you have anything funny that happened to you on the course or during an event or something like that, it's a fantastic thing to people know that you are actually human and not a machine.
Well, I definitely fell once on the prize giving at the national show of the good horse of Idiot Ditto that I got from Beat Mandley. That was when I was still quite small, but an embarrassing moment. Otherwise, nothing very funny right now that I can think of.
All right. Well, Martin, that's a wrap for us. Thank you very, very, very much for your time. It's been fantastic.
You're welcome.
I hope you enjoyed half as much as I did.
Yes, I did.
And hopefully I will see you again soon, taking photos and doing the other thing that I know how to do.
I hope so too.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. Have a good day and good night.
That they didn't get to ask, they can always text me on Instagram, and I can try to answer them. So. All
right. Well, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully I will see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.